also not search anything, unfortunately. One thing that I do want to do, as you might see up here, but it's not reloaded, refresh the to-dos. So how's it going on your end? Very curious how the last 2 weeks went for you. So, one is the search bar, then some design on the order screen, but I'm not sure whether we want to do that now. In general, I want to do the navbar functionality as well as the shopping cart stuff. Shopping cart, or add to cart, I guess. Right, which is of course the main functionality. Actually, it's much more important than the simple search. We can live without a search, but we cannot live without adding something to our cart. So we probably, from an agile perspective, it makes sense to start with the one that enables our main flow, which is adding something to our cart and eventually checking it out and stuff. We can already click on the sign-in button to get to our sign-in page. Yeah, it looks beautiful. We still haven't changed the colors and so on, but it actually works, this one, because we do everything with Cognito. If I'm not mistaken, I can put in time@gmail.com here, and hopefully, if I remember the password correctly, there we are. Never. Thank you. There we are. Learn React is our beautiful page, and then we can sign out again, and now we're signed out. From here we can, interestingly, not get back at this point, but that's fine. Okay, so now where do we start? I think ideally we should start with this one here. Did I refresh the to-dos? I didn't. Refresh to-dos. Typo. Add to cart. That's what we want to do. So when I click here, something should happen up there. That's what I want to have. Let's quickly look at Amazon as usual to see what happens if I actually, for example, I want to buy a Kindle Fire. Add to basket. So it redirects me to a page where I can proceed to the login. It immediately tells me you did add it, and it also adds it right here on that front with a kind of badge. Okay. Interesting. From thinking again about the design flow, it kind of blocks me from selecting other items. So it would be interesting if I, for example, buy ramen. Does it? Oh, I cannot even click the add to cart button from here. I have to click on it. Oh, apparently this doesn't work. Cookies. I don't know. Maybe because I'm actively searching for it. That's the trick here. So if I go, for example, to coffee and espresso machines, can I see coffee? Friends. I don't want machines, I just want the items. So let's take, for example, this one. Deals, this one tells me about deals. Okay, so apparently let's say we want clothing. I always have to look at the details to actually add it to my cart. Interesting. I wonder why they did it like that. Isn't there like one-stop shopping? They hover over it or something? No, nothing. Interesting. I was fairly certain that that's a thing. Let's say there's one also sponsored. There's the add to basket button and the buy now button, the one click thing. They do direct you to each one directly. How do we want to handle that? That is the question that I propose now. I don't know. If we click this, the user should somehow either get notified, or he's at least somehow the user should be able to notice, or should immediately notice that something has happened when he clicks on it. So if we just add the badge here, that's a start, but it's kind of bad user design in the UX in terms of, well, you click here and something up there happens. In particular, it's kind of in this corner and you don't even see it. If I look at my screen right now, I wouldn't even notice that something up there changes. That's probably not what we want. We could do something that some CSS stuff that then moves into the bucket, into the shopping bag. That would be an option. Or we do it similar to Amazon, in the sense that when I click on this, select the size, I don't know, this one, come on. If I click on this, directs me to a page, or it redirects me, and we could have something that says up here, you've added it to the page, and then it jumps up. The annoying part is that you kind of lose the context. And yeah, now it would be nice to know what our fictional virtual user, what kind of behavior they would have. Do they buy multiple teas or do they just buy one tea? That would be very interesting. Or maybe we are kind of subscription based. It will also be interesting. That would also be interesting. Yeah, that would be an idea. Like a tea shop based on subscriptions. But so not really a shop, more like pretty much like HelloFresh for tea. That would be an interesting idea to implement. Then we might have different models. All you can drink tea. Probably not. But tea boxes or something like that. That would also be an interesting idea, like for real. Is there something like that? Hello Fresh for tea. Cookboxes. At least. I don't see it immediately. Coffee. At least not easily findable. So how do we want to do this? The UX design. Click on this icon. So I suppose people would like to buy multiple teas at once, because the individual item price is, at least from our perspective, the individual item price probably tells us that you also need to select like the amount of grams that you want, right? Size. So HelloFresh for teas. That's an idea. So fill it out. So I don't know. So far, so somehow we have to select the size, like 100 grams, 50 grams, or I don't know, 200 grams, or even like 500 grams, maybe. Is that even an option in terms of tea? Maybe if we deliver to offices or something, that might be an option as well. And that's definitely not part of our current design, which we basically just copied from ChakraUI. So, or we always take 100 gram packages. Always take 100 gram packages, and then we buy in packs of 100 grams. Is that okay for the user? Is then the question from a business perspective? So again, we are kind of imagining that we are building really a tea shop business. Welcome to the new viewers. How would that work? I do want to select the size, kind of. But for the time being, let's just do the 100 grams. So fixed size of 100 grams per pack. So this is what we choose, and this is kind of what we eliminated just now with our decision. And then can try to implement this functionality. So somewhere we have add to cart. There we go. This one, is it the price card or is it the product card? Why do I have it twice? If I change this. Yeah, okay, that's the right one. Where does this one show it? Where are you? Product card apparently. So it is being used. No, price card. That's what I wanna. Well, the price card is the product card. If we don't export this, do we get any errors? It doesn't look like we do. So I suppose this one is actually not being used whatsoever. Hence, remove it. Do we use the price tag? Yes, we do use the price tag. All right. So add to cart, we want an on press, on click, on something, on click. Ramps. We say add to cart with a T. So up here we want a function add to cart for now, which does something. I would say for now we want kind of an icon to appear and then move into. Do you hear the nice sound of tea pouring?
Frank_Lee_delicious joined our tea
Frankly
time.
delicious. That is delicious. You know what else is delicious? Tea. How are you doing? Cheers. This is to you. Have a sip. Currently, I'm drinking peppermint together with chamomile. How are you doing? What brings you to the stream? Are you interested in, or are you a developer by any chance, or designer, or anything to do with software product development? And if so, kind of stuff are you learning or working with? I'm very interested in hearing the backgrounds of the people who join our tea time. So let's see it. We want to have add to cart. We don't have a state management solution just yet. We do have Apollo GraphQL, so probably we want to send a couple of things. So if we are logged in, let me write it like this maybe. So if logged in, send mutation to add product to users cart on the backend side. Mutation is a GraphQL term which basically just means something that changes something in the backend. We're currently using GraphQL. If not, we probably want to save the product to local storage so that we somehow have the information saved. Times amount is also important. The amount as well to the user's card. In this case, the local storage is directly to this, linked to this user. Yeah, it is linked to this user or to the browser, to be more precise. So that's I think one thing. Other than that, we want to have an animation, and what we want is from the button an icon like tea bag, for example, appears and moves into the shopping bag at the top. So now here's the thing. Having written this, so what I mean is something appears here and then it moves up there, and we get the shopping bag shows batch 1 item contained. In the tea bag, no, in the in the bag. So the thing is, this doesn't work on mobile, not at all. Suppose you scroll down here and you click here, then it would go like, but the bar is up here. Do we want to make the bar actually sticky? Sticky bars are always annoying, aren't they? Yeah, in fact, Amazon doesn't do it. And I consider Amazon the master of all shopping experiences. So they do not do the sticky header thing. Because it's real estate that you could spend on, I suppose. Probably because it's real estate that you could spend on actually showing products to the user that they might buy. That said, it kind of poses a problem to us. So Amazon kind of works around this. So frankly, we're kind of building a tea shop that is heavily, so a virtual one, so a fictional one, kind of, that is heavily inspired, however, by Amazon, because we can learn a lot from Amazon. In particular, what I want to show is kind of this product development thinking, which then drives technical decisions, because oftentimes it's vice versa, which is usually not ideal for the business, although sometimes it is, depending on. Sometimes, if you're lucky, it is that the technological choices happen to be exactly what the business needs. So if I have this thing here and I add it to my basket, why do I always have to select size? Then they avoid the problem that I was mentioning with the animation by redirecting us to a completely new page and showing this at the very top, and then kind of immediately also forcing us to go to the checkout. I'm kind of curious what happens if I go into this mode here. And I now click another pair of sunglasses here, and I add it to my basket. It does redirect me again. And then, it does immediately bring me to the checkout, or to the summary page. That's interesting. That's interesting. So that would be an idea. We have the summary. So where do I want to go? Here. So instead of the animation, alternative to the animation, redirect to summary or cart page. Suggest proceed to checkout, or continue shopping. They don't even suggest you to continue shopping, which is interesting. Which I find super interesting. This is our summary page, right? Yeah, it is. It is indeed. They're completely empty. These returns are easy. Great. They do suggest us these other items down below. So, cart page. Take to check out. Or continue shopping. I guess. Let's see where this leads us. Let's do it like prototypical and then see where this leads us. It is definitely more compatible with mobile, I think. So let's do this. That means what I want to do is now have this cart page, I guess, huh? We can start implementing stuff here. So let's maybe do just that. So what I want, we do not yet have a user shopping cart. So what we can do, however, is add something to to the local storage, I suppose. So let's see, how does that look like? Let's just say const logged in is equals false, because to do and the login and provide context. So whether we are logged in. So currently I'm just doing the static mock of it essentially. So if we are logged in, then do something. So then I want to have this, and it's also a to do. Otherwise I want to save the product times its amount to local storage. So do I have like local storage available? Was that how you use it? Local storage example. JavaScript window.local storage. Come on. Local storage.set item something. Is the second part always a... So let me put this window up there for the sake of it. It is indeed a string. There's a quota exceeded error. So set the value of the pair identified by key to value, creating a new key value pair if none existed or key provided. So let's say this is the card, and what we want is essentially something like this. Is without, if it's the first time, we want something like the product. So we can do it like this. So product.id, and then we take the value of this needs to be the amount that I want to buy it for. Probably also the price. Let's just say the amount. Well, like so. So if this is the first time, this should work. JSON.stringify view. However, if this is not the first time, we probably want to have something like const previous card is equal to local storage get item card, and then I want to spread the previous card and add this. So now comes the interesting part here as well. It is a string currently. So parse this value or empty object. Probably there's a better way to do this. Let's take it for now. So now we have the previous card, which is a of type. So there's it's just basically the product ID colon, which is a string, and it maps to a number, which is the amount. So type amount equals number. When I do everything of this inline, we can pull it out later. That should be easy enough. So we make this into a type as well, like card, for example. Then we can say the previous card is also a card. And and then we have to do something like previous card at position pre-product.id, which means maybe there's already an entry for this product, or somebody already clicked the number. If this is defined, then so previous amount of product is this or 0. Then we can say here this is the previous amount of product plus 1 more. Probably a better way to do this, but it does work for now. So this is basically save product X amount to local storage. And then after this is done, oh, let's use this consistently with no dot. So essentially we have a function here, I think, called which is called save product to local storage, because they are not logged in. And if that has happened, this is too much. We don't need all of this. I think all that we do need is this needs to be gone. This needs to be gone. Yeah, actually we just want the ID. That's all. Oops. Alright. Bams. And now if we have that, we want to redirect the cart page, and the shopping bag should show badge 1 item, should show a badge with 1 item contained. Okay. So how to redirect? We can do window. Can we? Wait. We have to Next.js redirect. Page redirects. So redirects allow you to redirect an incoming request. That's not the right one. This is on the back end, I think. What we want is redirect front end to page. Don't want it on the server. Is it just the regular, so the normal version is window.location dot href path. Which one? I think it's a origin port search. Host design. Path name. JS redirect to URI relative. Yeah, exactly. Okay, it is href after all. Dot href is equal to \cart. Exactly. So currently I'm hard coding here a lot here, but that's fine. We're not at a stage yet where I need to have the architecture fully planned out, I think. That this comes with time. Let's drink some more tea. Let's test. Test. Still working everything? And the sound is still terrible. Why does it always mess up my... nice little setup? Finally, when I kind of fixed everything, then it's updating and everything is broken. Again. Is there anything else that I should use? Besides the compressor, threshold. I don't think there's... Well, I guess we're gonna live with this one for some more time. All right, let's continue. So here we redirect. We should probably first do this, but we cannot really do that from here, I don't think. So normally you have a state management solution that takes care of this. Heyo, Finite, how are you doing? How was the stream? I'm surprised. I thought you would be streaming for longer. Because you were just you were on your work project, weren't you? Were you able to fix it? Which, yeah. Sorry for the mic, the audio issues. For whatever reason, OBS, whenever it tries to update, and whenever Ubuntu is able enough to make me click the alright, please update OBS button, then everything breaks. The complete camera setup and the complete microphone setups, all the filters are just terrible then. It went well, we got the editing all working. Oh, congratulations. And then I determined that I was quite hungry. Oh! So you called the stream to get some food. And now you have food, or are you just visiting to tell me you are hungry? Which is also fine. I hope you have some food. I can pass you some tea. But in either case, congratulations, have some tea for finishing the editing stuff. Very cool, very cool. But yes, about to grab it. Thanks for hanging out. We're in the middle of our project here, which is starting to pile up. Lurk for a bit. Yeah. Please lurk. If that is the thing. So we have our T-shop, and what we're currently thinking about is what happens if I click this add to cart button. So what did happen just now, what should have happened at least, is that it now triggered this function, the add to cart function, because I clicked this button down here. Where is it? There it is. Button, add to cart, on click add to cart. You're in the Angular stuff, right? So you might be able to catch up on some React stuff. Not saying I'm good at it, not at all. But at least people paid me for doing it for a year. So I can pass in here in my JSX or TSX file, basically just HTML that you can write inside of JavaScript stuff, which then gets magically converted into actual code that React can understand. I can pass in some properties, and for example pass in the function add to cart, which I define up here, and where I basically have all the logic that should happen, not all the logic, but at least the layout of the logic. What should happen if I click the add to cart button up here, for example for the green tea for $9.99. In that case, well, if I am logged in, I would send something to the backend. In GraphQL, it's called a mutation, basically a post or put request or something that changes stuff in the backend, to add the product and its amount to the user's shopping cart on the backend, because the user should be able to access it from multiple devices wherever they are logged in, and then just see their shopping cart, because that increases, of course, our chance to actually make a sale. If they are not logged in, however, which they might be, right? And we don't want to force them to log in on first page visit, because who visits an eShop, first logs in, and then buys something? Nobody. Yeah. You first decide what you want to do, and some eShops don't even force you to log in. You even pay, and then they suggest you to log in. I would say we probably won't go that far. Instead, when you want to proceed to log in, you come to the sign in page, or you probably come to the create new account page. Though it is kind of annoying to set it up, to be honest, because you have to get the email and stuff before you actually can buy something. But we've got the user much more invested if we show the login at the very end. So if somebody is not logged in, and I actually don't have a user's shopping cart on the backend side yet, I do want to, however, save it to the local storage, so that when the person closes their page and they come back later, they still see their stuff. For example, if I have Amazon here and I add something to my basket, if I close this page and I open it again, you can still see it, right? And we should be able to see something probably in local storage. Maybe it's also session storage. CServe, man, there's a lot in here. Do we find somewhere my shopping cart? I'm kind of scared to dox me in terms of IP address. Let's move this over to here for a second. I can't seem to find anything concerning the actual stuff in my Where do they save it? They need to save it somewhere. Oh, my bad. They need to save it somewhere, right? Because otherwise it would disappear. Page, next fetch, something, CSF token, CSA. What is a CSA token? CSA token? Okay. Okay. Not Security Alliance. That's probably not it, right? I'm not sure. Where is the content? So I would expect them to have it somewhere saved. Or they even do it on the backend side with more magic. Although it's probably against, it would probably be against cookie and GDPR regulations if they just saved something about me, maybe connected to my browser or my IDs. That would probably be against GDPR. I would expect it. Then again, I might have clicked the cookie accept button. Okay, so we save it currently on local storage, so we see in here now, if I click the button, we see the card which has an ID, which is a product ID, and then it has the value 1 inside of there. So if I click this peppermint again, I actually see it now has number 2. It does not find card 2, or the page card, because we haven't defined it. We can do that because we're using Next.js with an X. We can do that fairly easily by doing card.tsx and then do a React func, thank you, card capital. Oh. I write this capital letter? I don't think I do. Now it probably won't find it. Yeah. I think the casing here is important. So if I have this, I can now do something like, I don't know, put in some T paragraph. Thanks for buying. There it is. Okay. So we're now on the right page. All right. So the card page should probably show what we actually have bought already. Are we finished with our add to cart? I think we are, for the moment at least. The shopping bag shows batch, not super important just now. So I suppose that's fine. I mean, we because it's a simple one. Where is the shopping bag actually? Somewhere in the page header. Whoops, that was too far. Somewhere in the page header. Shopping bag. Shopping bag. There is the icon. Can we define a badge or something? Background attachment. So let's look at ChakraUI icon badge. Badge. Badges are used to highlight stuff. Oh, badge is its own component apparently. So if we do badge right there, and we can then do something like this. icon, something like that. We have a badge or attachment. No. Attach background attachment. That's a different one, more. I would expect. Can we put it right there? Work. Does this badge actually? Well, badges are a different thing from what I thought, I think. Yeah, they're more like chips. Methinketh. So badge is not what we want. What do we want then? To add badge notification? Something like that, yeah. An avatar with a... They do it like that, okay. So they do it with a badge. Okay, here we go. So they have a menu. I know it would be possible to make some work around the avatar component to show badges on the bell. But it would be nice to have a wrapper component where you could add badges to everything. Something like this. Okay. In icon we can apparently put more stuff. So if we make this one into its own component and then we add a little box around it, I am missing the end of the box. There it is. This. Save. Okay. So count. Let's say the count is equal to 5. Take a constant one. TypeScript, what are you doing? What does it look like now? It doesn't show anything. Color white, color red. No. Let's inspect it. Oh, now it shows. Okay. I see. We are currently in the mobile version. Yeah, this part is the mobile version, and down here is the non-mobile version. So what we want is do something like this and put everything right there. Then we should see it here as well. There it is. Yeah, perfect. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? It looks absolutely beautiful. Now we can fiddle around with it to make it look ever so slightly nicer. How does it look on here? So they have the one inside of there. Actually text showing? There is no text. Like a button that absolutely. Okay. So we want this to be actually fairly centered. So we want top to be indeed fairly close to the top, which is maybe 4 pixels. And then we want right to be 50%, I think. It should then center it, or it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Don't need this. Something should, right? Maybe the inspected regular should be able to move it and then set it to the right thing. So why is the 50% not applied? %50 is a thing, right? Oh, my bad. It's so small. Make it larger. Okay, 50% is a thing. What was it? CSS absolute position center. How can I send blah, blah, blah. This works for me. Margin left and margin right auto. Well, that's one version. That's absolutely. So margin vertical or horizontal. Margin. We have horizontal as a quick fix here. Oh yeah, we have X. Let's say this is auto. We don't need the right then. So now do you switch or do you not switch? Oh, that didn't work. Margin left, margin right. So our little span here doesn't have any margin at all, for whatever reason, even though we've set it just here. Margin left, auto, margin right, auto. Why you no reload? Normally it should auto reload. The setup is not correct, I think. Huh. But it strips it out. Why is the right still set? What am I doing wrong here? Something I'm doing very, very wrong, I feel. Start the server. Oh, am I changing the wrong one again? No, MD flex. Maybe it's too large. Oh, it is. It's been working all along. It has been working all along. So what happened? It was looking at this one here. Because I was zoomed in so much that it thought it's on a mobile device, which it isn't. You still see the thing, interestingly. Rendered, but it's, yeah, now we have margin left, margin right, auto. Okay. So if I make this, switch this back to margin to MX and to M, no, it's done. Then hopefully, I think now it's actually updating, but we didn't see anything because it's just working. Margin inline. Oh, okay. It's using margin inline now. I think that's better for when you actually have to implement right to left at some point, things get easier if you use margin inline start and margin inline right, and instead of left and right. Left and right wouldn't switch the directions when switching from left to right to left. Okay, so that worked. Now let's make it ever so slightly nicer. So the 5. I'm sure whether it shows the 5. The 5 is shown, but it's red on top of red. So if this color is not red, then we're getting closer to what we want. Here we want to have the color brand dot. Oh, that didn't work. Dot 300 maybe, which would be a green. Ah, okay, now it's that doesn't work either. Where do we want to have the shopping cart number? Here maybe, or in the center? Planet, do you have a suggestion or a preference of where you have the number, or maybe down here, down there? Shopping cart icon with badge. We have that one. We have that one. They do it on the top right. They do it in the center, very clumsily. If we make it red. The red is terrible. Red 200. Do we have a red 200 set? Yes, we do. Red 500. That one. 400. Yeah. I actually also want to make this into a circle. This is border radius. Should be it, right? So if we make the border radius very, very high, I would have expected it changes. 0. Border radius not work. I like the color. It's slightly pastel, which fits these colors better. What I don't quite understand is why it's not showing the way, like in a circle. This one into 6 pixels maybe. And up there, and now I want to make this into a circle. But how do I do that? It's a span. This changes into a tip. Did it change anything? Ah, it is actually round. Was the span also round? Yeah, the span is also rounded. If you zoom in very, very, very closely, maybe I can show the magnifier to its. What's the on Ubuntu? Does somebody know how the magnifier on Ubuntu? Accessibility. That didn't work. Universal access? Yeah. I do want to have the text contrast zoom. That didn't quite work. Because Ubuntu doesn't like it because I'm using two screens. Would be nice. So it is round, but because the 5 is in the center and it tries to match the 5, it doesn't show roundish. I think that's what the padding was for in the original suggestion right here. The padding makes it so that that inside it gets larger. We make 5 pixels here. And it's starting to get there. If it's padding, does padding horizontal exist? No. Padding right, and then padding left, 5 pixels, and now it's starting to get roundish. So if we do px 4 pixels, that kind of depends on the size of your text, doesn't it? If I change the font size, it just changes. Font size. It stays kind of. Oh, kind of. So I think we're there with that one. Yes, we are. We are. So let's give const a value, which is window.localstorage.getItem. And I should probably put this into a kind of a global constant or 0. What's JSON.parse of 0? Don't. JSON.parse 0. It is 0. Okay, that's good. Okay. So this is now a string. What comes out of this is a string or null. If this is not null, we want to parse it. So JSON.parse can do something like this, although it's not ideal. And then we do question mark dot dot. So this is now a card again, the one that we had earlier here. Card. There it is. It's kind of an object. I suppose it does make sense by now to. We don't even have components or anything. Let me put in pages, components, something which holds the logic. Well, we're making very, very prototypical solutions here currently. So I will be doing just that as card, copying a lot of stuff here and cleaning up later. Type amount equals number. Now, yeah, this one question mark dot as card. I think that's correct, right? Yeah. Man, they got mine. Object dot keys of this dot length. Okay, let's put this into a variable. Const so this is the local storage card equals T says, and this is of type card. And then if we have this, the count is the amount of products inside of there. This is not optimized whatsoever. Product count, he says, or 0. Not products in card, different products in card. Not optimized whatsoever. When you write probably actual code, this will look very, very different, I think. But we just want to make it work at this point. And then we think about making it nicer once it works halfway. Look at it go. There it is, finally. That's the wrong one. So, 0, it is very, very small. If I do it like this. But if I add the green T, I get redirected to the beautiful, beautiful card page from which I cannot escape. But if I go back now, it shows me a 2 up there. Can you see it? There it is, the 2. So now this icon here is actually probably a component in itself. Is this the right one? I get it. So if I put this one here, const shopping bag is equal to, must be a function that returns something. It returns this object. And it is, however, missing the icon button. This can go away. This can close this one. Say I want all of this, I think. Shopping bag, there it is. Like so. And then as properties, we get this object, which is a number. Then we should be able to use it. And instead of writing all of this, we just write, okay, yes, here you have the shopping bag, and you have the products in card, which is the value is different products in card. So we can do the same up here, so we don't have the product problems we had earlier. Edit it, go. Something is very, very missing here. No, I removed it without replacement. Okay. There we go. This is ever so slightly nicer. Now we change both of them at the same time. Did I copy the wrong one? Man, it's not my day. By the way, I'm on vacation actually. So, any complaints, please don't deliver them to me. I did copy the wrong one. Oh my goodness. Where's the other one? So, This one I need. Give me that. Backslash bracket, and then put this one in here and say you have a number count. So we destructure the object, the property, and we want count. And now I'm writing the interface, which is a number. And we say count down here. Oops. And I'm using the shopping bag as of now in here. And the count is equal to my beautiful variable products, different products, something. And I also use it up here. Now it works. Yes. We add another one. I go back to the original page. There it is. It's 3 now, finally. Oh, Jesus Christ Superstar. Jesus Christ Superstar. Yeah, architecturally we probably want to put everything not in local storage. First of all I would say in Redux, because I'm very familiar with it. And then Redux takes actually care of writing that into local storage. And whenever you load the page, it also loads it from local storage again. Or a fallback. Which I find much more reasonable. Alrightos. Okay, so now we have that beautiful button up there. Let it go. Yay! Isn't that perfect? So, admittedly, this one is much nicer to read because it's much larger. Here it's like not even existent. Also, the contrast is terrible. What's the contrast for green? Oh, it's a terrible colors. Violet. Or purple. Like a wine red. We have a wine red color palette. It doesn't look too bad. They only have the hex colors. Anyway. Okay, we kind of have what we want. It does need adjustments still, but everything on here needs adjustments. So at this point, I'm not too concerned. As soon as things start to boil down, we can start improving and making more fidelity changes. And this one is a higher fidelity change. For example, we don't have anything here on the card, which is not ideal. And that's one thing that I would like to change. So the most obvious change is we need a link. Other than that, we need the navbar actually included. Maybe if I put something like common in here, then I move my navbar into common, then we pull everything with it that needs to be moved, which is in fact nothing, because everything is contained in here. So now I can go over to my page, the card. I can just say, well, include the very top. Let's just make an empty div, and then we include the nav bar right here. Is that the name I've given it? Yes, I did. Import that. Now things should start to look ever so slightly better. Apparently the other one didn't change. Nav bar. Common. Or TypeScript or Next.js didn't like me moving it. Yeah. With the previous page, now we should. Window is not defined. Wait, what? Window is not defined? How is that even possible? Oh, because we're now on server side, huh? So Next.js doing server side rendering. Interesting. How do we actually solve that? Next.js. Do I have to? Use effect. Yeah, I suppose we need to put it into a use effect instead. I think the use effect, which is basically for handling side effects, it does not trigger on server-side rendering. So on this, it doesn't trigger on the server side, since we're doing server-side rendering. I just want to import it. Come on, give me an import. Did it import it? No, it did. Oh, it did. Cool. So, take the function, and then it returns or does something. And it might set some values. So we can use. Actually, we can take the complete card here. Huh? Do we need it? No, we don't need the complete card. So use state. Give me the snippet that I have defined, which is this one, I think, which is product count. Set product count. Default is 0. And then we have moved everything inside of there. Use state is not defined yet. So did they change the name? So, and then we do product count. And then we say set product count is product count. It's not different. New count. So, and we have to give it kind of dependency on when it should update, which is, when does it? Suppose this one as well as set product count. Not sure. Maybe we don't even want anything like that. Do you work now? Ah, we have to use it. There, there. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, there it is. Okay. And we see 3. Thanks for buying. That's already how we included the navbar in our regular page. Oh, this one is still broken because it imports navbar from navbar. What component is this? /navbar. Why can I not find /navbar? No, we don't want to. Where do we actually include this? Cart. There it is. So no, that's the wrong one. It's the one that we just wrote. Example product grid. There it is. So here. Ah, it didn't save it. So okay, that's it. Example product grid. Boom, the next page. Okay. Apparently we can do something like this actually in here. As well from start. Now the import is somewhat better. No, it is. All right. Will that also? Oh, we already did that. Perfect. Good job, us. So now we have our fun stuff up here. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay. So I don't think the orders button is actually there, to be honest. Different problem. I find it amazing that. Okay, so we solved it now. Because it wasn't working on the server side because window is not defined, which makes sense because on the server there is no window. It only exists on the front end client. So we basically send it over, and then this function runs again, re-rendering only the stuff that it actually needs to rerun there, which is the shopping bag. In fact, we might actually consider doing the following. Putting everything inside of here, and then calling this one count, and not passing it as a property. Set count. And then we don't even need to provide it here. So now the shopping bag basically completely manages itself. This. And it shouldn't change anything on the front end. There we go. It also means that if this re-renders, only this part gets re-rendered, which is nice. And the diffing gets it slightly faster. React wouldn't actually completely re-render everything, only the parts that are actually changed would be re-rendered. But the diff is also smaller than it would need to compute. Okay. So if I click here, Thanks for buying. And we have again our nice little list here. Perfect. Isn't it just beautiful? This one already works. Nice. So if I click this page, I probably want to go to the card again, right? Oh, it's a different one. Oh no, this is the card. Okay, perfect. So we can include that fairly easily. So if I click on this icon button, I want to go somewhere. Const go to card. I just say, well, window.location.href is equal to \card. There we go. And then on click, we go to the card. So that should do it. We're already there. Shouldn't do anything. Oh, it still does, apparently. So how do we get back to the home page? Probably via the logo. The logo currently is on just a box. So can we also add a one-click handler on here? It is. It is possible. Not sure. Next.js link. We do have link. But I don't quite get. So it basically is just an anchor tag. Says. What I don't quite get, how does it do things different? So why would I use link? Next.js, why use link component? It's been a long time since I've last used Next.js, and it was also just for a short time. And you put in a link, and then you put its href. That's fine. But why? That I don't get. Fetch pages. Fetching will load the next resources code to be executed as soon as the user navigates to the next page. Isn't that the default? We'll save some time. Ah, okay. So when we have a page that you should immediately go afterwards, can already it first renders the current page, and then it starts loading the next page, I guess. It's not about rendering, it's about fetching the JS for. didn't 100% get why I would use it. I do have with router. That's interesting. So if I add something like with router here, Next.js router, I probably with router Next.js TypeScript. So it gets an href. Can I click TypeScript here? No, I cannot. That's too bad. Say like something like router props or with router prop. Next page content. There's something from next router. Router. Use router. We also have use router. I suppose we take that one. Use router is probably better. Instead of using a higher order component, we can just do const router equals use router. Yes, what he says. Then router dot push. Now we're getting there. So if I go to logo const on, I'll go to home is this. Maps. And then instead of having the href right there, we also do something like this instead. Here we need to use const router equals use router. Go. You might want to use router up there. Go to cart. Cart. Save. Does that still work? I hope it does. Let's see. So apparently I cannot click on here. That definitely works. Sign in. Here I use a link. Okay. Card. Following. Then we have. Am I adding the go to home again to the wrong property? So const logo is equal to turn. And now just make it a box that does stuff. Logo. Backslash. And down here we also want that. What we want. Some more space apparently. Not sure whether we really want that. So take all of this over to there. One. And if I do this now, I cannot click it. Oh, I can. There we go. Things start happening. And it's starting to get smooth in particular. So if we go to the sign in, do I want the sign in to be actually have Ah, there we go. They even have it separate. Can't even get away from here. Interesting, very interesting. And I guess we leave that. Oh. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. All of a sudden, it's also starting to get fast. Unless I click here, because I don't think I'm using the correct router. Instead, just an href. So I want something like this, and I want to go back to the product card, I think. Yeah, there it is. So product card, please do something like that. Go to card. It is in this case. Which card? It's the router. Huh? Then we just call this function here, and we say, I personally, when nothing should happen after that, I often put the return there. This automatically happens. So if I, for example, take some ginger tea, currently have a 3 up there. It's a 4 now. Nice. And one thing that I do remember is we don't want to show the badge if nothing is inside of there. So where is my shopping bag? Here. This box is only shown if count is greater than 0. Count end. So that's one way to basically, if this is false, it will, or false C, sorry. If it is false C, this whole block will validate essentially to false, which will just not render, or maybe render something empty. I'm not sure. But really rendering doesn't happen. So that's one way to write it. Or another way would be something like, so if count is 0, if count is not 0, sorry, then we want to show the box, otherwise we want to show null. So that's another way to write it that you sometimes see people use in React. Right, so if I empty my storage, yes, reload. Now it says 0 down there. That's awesome. That's interesting. Right. Wait, what? Okay, apparently I need the boolean here. Why is that again? React renders 0. React showing 0 instead of short circuit. So short circuit conditional component. Okay. So it is faulty, which means if I have this code here, it is faulty, so it ignores everything that's written here, and now this is just basically the text, which happens to contain the number 0, and then it rendered the 0 number. But we can avoid that by doing the not or the boolean. There we go. Oh, thanks for buying. Ah, okay. That it shouldn't happen. But here we go. And now we have something in our cart. Sweet. Look at it go. Address. Oh, it's starting to get there. We are starting to get there. We are starting to get there. Yes. So, now, what else do we want? Okay, we have at least some functionality now. We haven't done anything on the backend so far. I think for the search, we might actually want to do so. There's something very interesting that I've recently discovered. So the simple version, we can because we are using Next.js GraphQL, Next.js query, sorry. We can write code like let's put in a query for, call it T's. We get us our T's, my bad. Wanted to zoom in a bit for you. So we can do some filtering here. For example, by name, maybe. And then we get ourselves the count and the edges, and maybe a node and the name. Yeah, that's it. So what am I missing? String period comparison. Oh, okay. I think this needs to be equals, and now a string. No, just get the brackets right. So okay. So now nothing matches, but if I since this is actually getting converted into a SQL query, we can put these dollars on the side to make essentially wildcard matches. So in wildcards, this would be something like star, val, star. So anything that matches in the center the word val, or contains the string val. Or like this, it ends in val. And with that, we can very easily. Did I write it in capitals? Ah, sorry, I need to use like. Better I like. So case insensitive likes. Like so. I like is not supported apparently in SQLite. That's too bad. Because we don't really have a database yet in the background. But if I use like, it is supported in SQLite. I do need to be careful with casing, however. Yeah. But as time goes by, we probably would, if we get so far, we would probably switch out Postgres by something. Sorry, we want to switch out SQLite by something like Postgres, for example. One interesting thing, however, that I did find, so this is the power of Next.js GraphQL, nice and cool. One thing that I did learn recently, though, is about cloud or search as a cloud service, essentially. And there's, I think, cloud search. AWS. Was it that one? Yeah. So that's the wrong one. this one. The idea is basically you load in your documents, which we could easily create from the existing database, or whenever we add a new item, a new product, it would add the document, and then you basically have Elasticsearch as a service. You select from a list of suggested properties that Cloud Search wants to index. You just select the stuff that you, like here. So these are the fields on all the documents that you have provided. For example, there's a genre on some stuff, and you want to index those, which means people can start searching across those. And then everything is just magically happening without you having to, for example, do something like Elasticsearch, which is a big pain in the arm. Perfectly fine. Particularly if you have large data sets. Syncing everything and keeping everything in sync and up to date and so on is a hell of a lot of mess. It also needs a lot of resources. I think you have to start at 8 gigabytes of RAM, which already costs you a couple, maybe $100 on AWS, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. And this one is basically much more down to earth, and you just get what you want. Of course, you still have to pay the price, I think. You lose Lucene with MongoDB. Interesting. Apache Lucene, which is probably similar to Elasticsearch, I suppose. Is it? Maybe you can tell me more about it. There are a lot of sub-databases, I suppose, or charts or something, which then get stuff happens. Let's take a quick look at Lucene, because I haven't heard about it so far, I think. There is AWS Lucene. There is something that is called similarly, but it's a file system. File systems. What was that name? Not EFS. There's a different one. That is also called something similar to Lucene, I think. But well, maybe I'm mistaken. By the way, welcome in, Homeless. Good to see you again. Today we have been, I'm not sure how much you've seen, but we did do quite a bit of stuff. Most importantly, we can actually add stuff to here. We see a badge now. It's kind of terribly rendered. Actually, you cannot see it. I just realized. Up there, there's a 2. If I zoom large enough in, actually can see it. Oh, that's surprisingly nice switch from mobile to non-mobile. And things start to get faster, at least after it has initially loaded. Don't think this one does anything. Yeah. We're now using the right routing, actually. So, Lucene. Lucene versus Elasticsearch. Versus SWA. Or Solar. Solar versus Elasticsearch. Both Solar and the Elasticsearch write indexes in Lucene. So it's built on top of Lucene, Elasticsearch, apparently. If I interpret this correctly. Oh, so you're using it even one level below that, below the Elasticsearch. Interesting. How do they compare? Quora's probably not the most the best solution, but anyway. Solar and Elasticsearch are similar in many ways. So Lucene is a full text search engine written in Java. Solar and Elasticsearch are sitting on top of Lucene to add enhanced search functionality. And if I've seen that correctly, Cloud Search hassle-free Solar search. So this, but that's stacks or search stacks. Maybe AWS builds it on top of Solar. I don't know. What else do we have? Both Solar and Elasticsearch have been adapted for analytics use cases as well as enterprise search. Solar is an older technology and certainly still has many fans and an experienced community if you judge by the size of the community. However, Elasticsearch overtook Solar a few years ago. From when is this? 4 years ago already. Okay. That's, I think, back in the day when I used Elasticsearch. Of note, although I was still fairly junior at that point. Of note, while all three projects are open source and Apache 2 licensed, only Lucene and Solar are projects of Apache. Elasticsearch is owned by Elastic. Yeah. Two. Interesting. So now we know about the connection of those three. Yeah, getting back, I'm actually kind of inclined to try to use Amazon Cloud Search because I'm very interested and intrigued. And I want to see whether it is as easy as they suggest. How does pricing work? Let's say we do indeed need this one. It is this price in US dollars, so probably we want something in Europe, which makes it a lot more expensive. So it's €1 essentially per hour times 24, which is a day, times 30, which is monthly. So it's, if you have a slightly, I'm not sure how large 2x large is. Maybe most people are satisfied with small, I don't know. But then you pay $700 apparently. I'm also kind of curious how much it scales, because you do choose the instance type here, right? Maybe Homeless, you can tell me, Lucene, it looked like you have multiple machines running the cluster, which I know of Elasticsearch also typically have multiple machines running the cluster, I think. If I'm not mistaken. My memory is kind of fuzzy concerning Elasticsearch. And then, which means you can scale out a lot up to some size. There's also billing for every 1,000 not items, but at least batch upload requests, and you pay again for gigabytes of data stored in the search domain. Okay. But it is an interesting idea, I find, at least. Seeing the necessity for search and slightly more elaborate search typically in a lot of projects. And on the other hand, the technological and operational overhead that you get when you have to manage something like Elasticsearch yourself, and not only operate it, but also the code is fairly complex, to be honest. I would like to see how this one compares. If you have any experiences with Amazon Cloud Search, or also there's some similar product from Azure Cognitive Search. If I'm not mistaken, built-in AI capabilities to enrich all types of information, blah 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 blah. Fully managed search as a service. I think if we look for search as a service, we might actually find even more stuff. For example, the search stacks, managed Solar, and managed Elasticsearch and OpenSearch, and more stuff. If you have any experiences with it, I'm very, very interested to hear your opinions. How it compares in particular to writing. You still have to write code, right? You somehow have to get your documents inside of there. And you typically also have to update the product, the documents inside of there. For example, if I create a new product here, what is it, mutation, new product, or new T, then I can, I don't know, add, create one T, and do stuff with it. I want the ID. Yeah, and then now I can provide my information. And if I do this, I typically also want to have it indexed in the search, of course, because otherwise people won't find it, right? So there needs to be some update functionality as well, and keeping those things in sync, I know, is a hassle if you do just regular Elasticsearch. At least, let's say it like this: 5 years ago, the Elasticsearch TypeScript was very young. The Elasticsearch Node.js stuff was, God, not very sophisticated. In particular concerning types. Basically, you just had to write it yourself. Regular JavaScript, essentially. Everything was any. Yeah. One thing I'm intrigued about. Apparently, you can use the pricing calculator as well to do the calculations. In any event, so we have this now. Let's do the simple search. Even though it is very, very simple. Which is also the navbar, right? Navbar basically contains every piece of our logic. It feels like. Where is open menu? Open, or close, on open. Where's my search? Search bar, there it is. Okay. So if we have this, in this case, we actually want to send a new query, or let's say it like this. We want to actually refetch the query that we've already done in product grid, I think. No, not product grid. In card example price grid. Yeah, it has a terrible name. I suppose we just this. This is actually the need to save. So here we have our use get t's query. Do we have something like refetch? Yeah, there is a refetch with the variables now. There is a refetch now. So do we have to pass that down to the navbar, I guess, huh? Let's see. It won't work, right? Not always, at least. Navbar is kind of in a weird place. Navbar is kind of in a weird place. Because if you... Let's see. If you search from here, it should re-render this list, which means the refetch is the correct one. We want to refetch this query, which gets us the t, and we probably want to provide some variables so that we filter by, for example, by name, typically by name, I suppose. Or by tags, maybe also. However, if we are in a completely different page, for example, right here, we still want to type something right here. We want to click the search button. We want to get redirected. We want to do the search, and then we want to see the search result on this page. So it's kind of a redirect. Kind of a redirect. And in particular, this query was never executed and does not exist in the context of this page. So one option, we still don't have a state management solution. We do have, however, Apollo and Apollo's cache. How does that help us? I don't know. How does that help us? I don't know. Let's drink some tea here to get my thinking fluids running. If you have any ideas on how to manage that, let me know. We could do, if you were on this page, we could do a redirect instead onto this page with query parameters. The query parameters then execute the query with the proper values. How does that sound? That's not too terrible, is it? Is it? I mean, basically, what does Amazon do? Yeah, they use by say, I don't know. Let's say maybe not socks. Let's look for Lamen again. Search question mark. Keyword is Lamen, and then they have some ID. The prefix is ramen, %2, caps, %2. I think that's a space. No. URL encoded. Reject all, save. So I want to decode. Where can I decode? Cookies. %2 is nothing. It's not. %2C is probably something. %2C. Ah, it's a dot. Is it a comma? It's a comma. It's a comma. So they have Lamen, comma, APS, comma, 91. Whatever that's supposed to. They have a page called search, essentially, right? If I see this correctly here. They basically have a page which is called search. \s. Oh, well, maybe that makes sense. We have a page search. Let's try that. Essentially, we take the index and we just copy it and call it search. And we call this one search page, search results. And we include the example. I probably want to move now everything over to here. This page, however, does something interesting. It receives query parameters. Next.js query params. Dynamic routes. That's not what we want. Is it? Do we? Kind of. But it should pre-render on the backend. Because of our server-side rendering, right? So it kind of should, but it kind of shouldn't. My query parameters. Match path parameters will be sent as query parameters to the page, and it will be merged with the other query parameter. Not sure whether that's the... Let's do it the stupid way. Or if you say veto, that's not how it's done in... Maybe in server-side rendering Next.js. Next.js search results page. Building a search component for a Next.js block. Started. We have backend. We have more backend. Yeah, that's backend part. Because we use the file system. That's how I know. And we don't have a file system on the front end. So where's the front end code? Show me the front end code, Dan. Here we have set query, blah blah, use callback, something something. So search ref contains event.time. It's way too complicated. What do I want? Let's see. What I want, let's keep it simple for the first version. If I'm on the page S for search, \search, then I want to have the parameter, query parameter called keyword. So something like get query param keyword, and then I want to execute the get t's query with keyword in like clause. Something like $. And I want to surround it with percents so that it matches everything, which is kind of the very, very simple solution. If the database gets larger, you definitely want a search service, either the self-hosted solution, or maybe if you wanna try it out, the cloud search as a service. But we're gonna do it stupidly here. Can I add options to this one immediately? I can. Query. That's a rendering. Fetch write policy on complete policy. Name client. I want to provide variables. That's what I want. There we go. Variables. And I do want to have. What do I want to have? I want to have. Actually. Let's see right here. I want to have basically this, what I currently have. And I want to have. To use an or probably. So can you make this nice, pretty fine? No, you cannot. Thank you. So in or. But this is on the same level as name now. Or is it a list or an object? I think it's a list. Or tags like $, yeah, whatever the value is, $. Why does it format it so stupidly? Come on. If I make something else here is true. Thank you. I think this is nicer to read for you as well, right? Can I do this? I think I can. And then Put an object around it. Man, human linting is terrible. Okay, something like this, me thinketh. So this is what I want. Now somewhere I have a .gql file, and it now needs to get parameters. How do I do that again? So $filter, actually $value, which is a or $search keyword, which is a string but optional, and then I don't think that works. I do have to make the filter in itself optional, otherwise it won't help me much. I don't. Otherwise GraphQL can't handle it. So, and then I want the, basically I just want the $filter here. Now the question is, what type is it? I do need the schema. Schema is on the back end. Schema. Somewhere we have a filter. We have an t-update filter. That's probably not the right one. We have more t-update filters. We have an order filter. We have a t filter. Maybe we take that one. Let's take the t filter, and this one is optional. Top fully works. This one I think needs to be filter : filter. Is that right? Where are you used? Filter, which defaults to empty. And probably also want some paging and some sorting, but let's keep it simple for. Maybe this one works. I save this. I do need to now rerun GraphQL code again. It did do something. It did indeed do something. And it was fairly happy with copying the query. It seems. So I put in the variables now. Nice. I even get proper TypeScript support here. So I do want OR, and then I want all of this stuff here. Text $, keyword essentially, and this needs to be confirmed, done in backticks. So now if I put const keyword equals something, there we go. Not the fastest, by far not. But it's better than what we had before, I think. Not sure here if we... Not even sure whether this works. So, if keyword is not set, what should happen? If keyword is not set, we should not go to the search page, right? I mean, what happens if I do this? Oh, it redirects me. Interesting. Interesting. So, that doesn't work because I cannot use if before the use. Okay? No, I cannot, right? React if before use hook. Don't call hooks inside loops, conditions, or nested functions. I think if we completely go away, it might actually work. If keyword is empty, yeah, then so use router, const router is use router from React next router. If this happens, we return router.push. Not sure whether we can actually return. Otherwise, we do this fun stuff. Now, if keyword changes, something should happen. So now we need to get keyword. Next.js get query parameters and get server-side props. Oh, we can also get from. What's the question? When I click on link, brings me to about.js page. However, when I'm passing parameter name through URL, I don't know how to get it in the about.js page. And then the component, then we use router.query. Okay, so router.query.keyword. This is a string. It's parsed URL query. What is that supposed to be? Node.js dict. We're definitely not on Node.js, I think. But maybe it works. Is this a string array, or undefined? Oh, it might be a string array if somebody writes. Okay, so if type of key is not a string, or keyword is empty, then we want to redirect immediately. And then I don't know whether we need to do this. That's why are you erroring? It is called conditionally now. Darn. Now it doesn't notice it. Is this against the rules of hooks? Question mark. The rules of hooks is a set of best practices for React hooks. So hooks is the stuff that inside of such a function you typically write use something. And it's basically just a convention, and React uses that to, it depends on the order of all these hooks, and then does only execute those that really need to be executed, or none if none need to be. Well. Let's see whether that works in any form. I'm kind of curious. We do want to pass the keyword probably to this function, which is keyword then. And navbar, we do have props now. you do maybe get the keyword, which is optional string, and you should pass it down word to the search. Oh, there it is. And it needs to be here somewhere. Do I need to? What is that plugin complexity is 30? It's cyclomatic complexity that it is showing me. Cyclic I don't know whether I've never used it in, or never looked at it in React, I don't think. Obviously it's totally wrong in this case, I think, because complexity is much lower. So the plugin that I'm using, Code Matrix, I think. Yeah, I think that's it. Be aware, if you install this, you probably want to change its default colors, because the default color is red and you think you have errors in your code. So what I did, I changed the color to pink on that code. And what it does, it's particularly, so cyclomatic complexity is a way of measuring how many passes you have through your code. So how many different passes do you have from here to there? And cyclomatic complexity is a number that basically represents that. And the fun part is I'm sometimes using it on the backend because there's a theorem, in fact, a mathematical or computer science theorem that says if you want to cover all paths with tests, you at least have to have a specific number that's in relation to the cyclomatic complexity number. Number of test cases. Maybe I find that. Testing. So another application of cyclomatic complexity is determining the number of test cases that is necessary to achieve thorough test coverage. I think it's path coverage. There's a lot of branch coverage of a particular module. So M is an upper bound for the number of test cases that are necessary to achieve a complete branch coverage. So if you want complete branch coverage, you at most need cyclomatic complexity many, but to achieve branch coverage. But at the same time, M is a lower bound, so you need at least cyclomatic complexity many tests if you want path coverage, and assuming you have one test case per path. Yeah, and that's a nice way to check that you have actually run through everything. You can also just run coverage and then have line coverage show, or branch coverage and path coverage shown to you. Here's the summary. In fact, I don't know, I'm not really using it. It's a nice, I don't know, it's a gimmick. And a lot of people ask me about it, also at work, but I'm not using it anymore. Maybe I should just delete it, uninstall it. Or maybe I'm not using it enough. That's also one way of looking at it. I'm not using the full extent of its power. I suppose that's the better way to put it. Let's get back here to our keyword. So we could, in fact, instead of passing it down here, we could in fact use the search bar and grab the value from the search bar again, but I don't think that's a good idea, because people could just fiddle around with the query parameter and then things start to happen. Is that an argument? I don't know. Anyway, so if we have keyword, I want to show it actually inside of this keyword or empty string or something. Will it override stuff now? I think it does. I think what I need. I'm not tracking any state anyway, so what we need to do to make this actually work is to have a use state here, I think. And we put keyword as the default value, right? You're welcome. Thanks for asking. Const input value, value is this, and then we use as the value the actual value, and on change, do we have on text change? On change, we probably do want something like set value here. No. Set value e.target.value. I think. Search bar. Why do you complain? Because you don't have properties there. I suppose I move you there and then you're happy. And indeed you are. So, does it work? Does it work? That's the big question here. Where's the... We still don't have any functionality of when we click the icon button. So on click, we want to search, I guess. Called search does something, and what it does is it indeed uses use router, but then it pushes to /search with keyword equal to value. Thank you, GitHub Copilot. Thank you. So, and we probably also want to have on, how do I put this? Is it on key press? To do add key listener on enter or return key. So if I search for example, APA, will it work? Will it or will it not? We will know after a short commercial. I won't start a commercial. But I could. 60 seconds of ads. How would you like it? Probably I would go down to 0 viewers. Ooh. So it's probably more my problem than yours. So I will click it. What we should see is that this up here changes, and I think that will work. What should then happen is that this search actually does something. I see that. I see. Turn. Darn. Can I return that? S string. That's dangerous to do. Can we get rid of the type assertion? But we're not doing anything with the type here. We're just saying, compiler, please shut the fuck up. All right. So my server is not running. Maybe we stop the server. There would be at least one thing that we should ensure before we do anything. So if I now search for EPA, will it work or not? In fire in 3, 2, 1. Oh, it worked! Look at it go! All those changes, and it did indeed work. Sweet. Nice. Nice. Can we go back? If I change this into E, can I click this button? Apparently an E is almost in any green. Nice. And for whatever reason, it is case insensitive now. But why? That doesn't make much sense. Or maybe it's SQL functionality. Green. Still shows me the same. SQLite. Case insensitive. Oh, by default, SQLite like is actually case insensitive, which is kind of confusing. But that's very good. That's very, very nice for us. Nice, it works. And we can go back and we can go again to this page and it immediately loads. Oh, this is so nice. Thanks for buying. Thank you for being here. Nice. Whoop, whoop, I would say. Whoop, whoop, I would say. And it doesn't explode, by the way. Because as soon as we push the router here, I don't know, it should theoretically still go through, right? Hey, can I just do... No, I cannot. I was about to say, can I push this up? Problem is that then the query will still execute, right? Well, but it works. Nice, high five team. Good job. So let's drink some, I don't know, matcha maybe. I can, well, that's the first thing that I want to do. put in the key listener. React input field key, oh, actually it's ChakraUI, I suppose. Input field key listener. Yes, exactly. This is my question. On submit. On change. No, that's not it. On key press. Something like this. So, whoops. wamps, wamser, and then we do, if it is enter, we want to search. There we go. So we make this into green, enter, bats. We make it into matcha, if we make it into pepper. Nice! Look at it! Look at it go! And it's actually really fast. What if we make our network slow? Let's say slow 3G. So the very first render is probably going to take a whole while because it's loading a lot of images, unfortunately. Oh, wait. We can load the images asynchronously, right? If we go into the price grid, into the product card, into the image, currently it's still using, it's still loading main and the app, which are probably totally oversized already. Go on, be a little quicker. Maybe ChakraUI already loads them asynchronously, the images. We will see in a few hours as soon as this has loaded. Oh man, how large is this? Maybe past 3G? At least a little faster? Come on, you can do it. Wow, our app is really large. Our app is like really large. I think Amplify is already like terribly explosively large. Although it shouldn't get low. Did it get loaded? It might get loaded because it's in the top level. There it is. It immediately. No, did it immediately load them? I don't know. ChakraUI async load image. Lazy loading. Hard to read. I think it automatically I don't know, it was too fast, kind of. Oh, because these are already cached, damn it. So I suppose we have to reload it again. It's terrible. This time it was like 8 or 9 megabytes for the app.js. Go on, you can do it. You can do it. We definitely want to split the app.js file, I suppose. Or maybe after building everything gets way smaller. I sure hope so. And then, as soon as this loads, we should see hopefully skeletons instead of loaded images. Images are so fast. Why do you load them from cache? I reloaded without cache. Why? Via browser cache. Like the complete one? Disable cache, thank you. Oh boy. But again. Oh, this is fun. If you get paid for this, it's kind of... It would be kind of fun. It's unfortunate that I don't get really paid for this. Although there have been some subscribers, so thank you so much for subscribers. For their support. And by the way, if you have Amazon Prime, you can support me with your for free using Amazon Twitch Prime subs. I don't know, gaming, Twitch gaming, Amazon gaming, Prime subs. I think that's the name. I think that's the name from Twitch. So this time, there it is. It automatically loads them asynchronously, which is great. We don't really even have to care about it. Look at it. There it is. Nice. It's amazing. And look at it go. Like if I do the no throttling here again. Disable the cache. No, thank you. We do, for example, green. Babs. There we go. If we do, for example, I don't know, hello. No, it's empty. It's empty. We probably, in that case, want to show something like no results. So maybe just maybe if so data.t.edges, we can just use the total count is equal to 0, then do the following, otherwise the following is this. But down here, this is like this first, and now we write the actual code. So no results found for keyword. It wants me to escape things. Sweet. Nice. Yeah, a proper search service would probably now give you something. Did you mean like what you're used to in Google, I guess. For example, if we, it's probably very, very hard to find anything that is, well, it still shows me results, which is, it has 95 results for else the whose has far. Of course. I mean, why wouldn't it? It still has 91 results. It even has more results if I add stuff. If I only look at Amazon Warehouse, I'm not even sure what that is. 18 results. It's amazing. So yeah, okay. This should suffice for the time being. I think this is where we're going to stop. I think we do have add to cart in the sense, add to cart front end only. Yeah, front end only, it's called like that. And then we need to have something like add to cart with backend and save on backend and persist on backend. One thing that we do want, do we have every single functionality of our search bar? Actually, we do indeed. I think we have to take out the orders. That doesn't make sense for someone who's not logged in. And instead show the sign in button there. Where do I want to go? I want to go to Amazon.com. Accounts and lists. Returns and orders. I can't click on returns and orders. It just shows me, oh, interesting. It immediately shows me the sign-in. Interesting. You're not signed in. By the way, it should also work, the search, I mean, on mobile. If I go for an iPhone design here, and I go to the main page, and look for pepper, there we go. There it is. So after we have, and I click here, then we come to the other page. Sweet. There's no dashboard. Nice. Good job, everybody. High five. This is the end for today, I think. We have. Oh, there's still a little bit of functionality on the search bar, on the left bar missing. We do need an orders screen. We do need a design for that. Basic web shop design. We're kind of doing this on the fly. So I will just archive that. On 404, use a cat. Oh, this is one thing that I definitely want to do. Do you know http.cat? It's beautiful. So for every for example, you have a not found error, you just put in this nice cat image of a not found cat, or request timed out, or I don't know, temporary redirect. It's a proxy. These are not cat. Oh, this is actually a real cat. I didn't even see. But yeah, very nice page. So http.cat. Go and check that out. There's also placeholder kitten. Placeholder.kitten if I'm placekitten.com. Also a very nice page. Placeholders. So next time we do the persistence on the back end. It probably starts with add card to users card to backend. And giving it an API access database entry, and doing some relations, and then we can connect that with the front end. That part should be then fairly easy as soon as we have the query, the mutation, sorry. And then we need the order screen, which is not there yet. And then we also need the design. Thanks for buying the card screen. Implement card screen, implement checkout screen, and we have that. I'm kind of out of ideas for now. So, all right. So, thank you so much for joining me again. You can find everything on the GitHubs. If I just put all of this fun stuff up there. What is this? Is the right location? No, don't think it is. Nav. Programming types. Wait, what? It's a completely different. Well, that's the old one, right? That's the old one. We need to just look at these few here. That one and that one and that one, that one and 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 that one. And I think then we are good. We are good indeed. Peacock doing stuff. That's acceptable if we all right, so this becomes whatever we did before, 56, Next.js app. So what do we have now? We have quite a bit, I think. We have search, we have add to cart in its basic form, and navigation. Approved navigation. So it's kind of a bummer that we did everything at the same time and not in proper, as I would in a normal project, in one step at a time, basically. Multiple commits. But here we go. So git push, and it should be up in just a second. There it is. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you like the stream, feel free to follow. Also, thank you for the follows that we had during the stream. Or if you are very, very generous today and you think, hey, that's kind of fun, let's support that. You can also subscribe here on Twitch, either with your if you don't want to spend money with Amazon Prime, it's then for free, but although you have to recover that every month essentially, or redo the Prime sub every month, or you can support me for a multiple month with a regular one, or just for 1 month. I'm also grateful for just 1 month. I'm also grateful for every follow and you hanging out with me today. Have a nice and great day. We have it now 21:18. I hope the microphone and stuff have kind of calmed down after the kind of bumpy start that we had. Yeah, but with that, we did quite a lot of fun stuff today, and continue it here on our web. the t-shop. Alright then, goodbye everybody. Have a nice day.